Neighbor teenagers pushed us too far and got their family evicted. We do love us some neighbor drama on this channel. This story first started May 24th, 2026. I try to be a polite neighbor. You're not going to see me often and I won't seek out conversation, but when new neighbors move in, I will go and introduce myself and offer mine and my spouse's phone number. Well, aren't you a delight? Couldn't be me. This is a nice neighborhood. It's completely normal to give Christmas baskets or let someone's dog out if they need it. Stuff we did for our previous next door neighbors. Okay, well this just seems like a Hallmark movie neighborhood. Maybe I would. No one would complain about a random party on a holiday weekend. I won't be bothered by your kids playing loudly on the sidewalk. People behave, but they aren't unreasonable about expectations. Especially since we live in townhouses that are all connected. There's just no way to eliminate all neighbor noise. All this to say that I don't think we have unreasonable community expectations. Since these new neighbors moved into the vacant rental next to ours, we have had nothing but trouble. They have only been here a couple of months, but they are the second worst neighbors we have ever had. Second worst? Oh, I don't want to know about the first then, but I do. The absolute worst was a couple at our first apartment who resolved conflicts via fisticuffs. The first annoyance was a normal one. Their bass was too loud through the walls, a common problem since people aren't aware of how thin the walls are. We also did the same thing. Our previous neighbors texted, we apologized and adjusted our settings, confirmed that they couldn't hear it anymore, and all is well. We work from home and needed to be in meetings, so we went over to ask them to turn it down and no one answered. Finally, we texted the mother and the music only happened in the late afternoon between the time when her kids would get home from school and when she would get home from work. Since it was a couple of hours maximum, we just let it go and we didn't schedule any meetings during those times. We were kids once too. Then spring break happened. Either the mother works both days and nights or simply spends 18 out of 24 hours outside the house. Twice in one night, my husband had to sternly tell her daughter's friends to stop looking at our cars, leaning on our cars, and screaming after midnight. 5 feet from our front door, by the way. Then the next night, we catch them doing it again. My husband opens the doors to one of the drunk little idiots popping a squat and pissing less than a foot from our car. My husband, being a reasonable man, starts yelling angrily at them for peeing in front of our door. The hooligan closest to sober remembered basic survival instincts and began wrangling the rest of them into the house, apologizing sloppily but profusely. Apparently a very angry, very big, very bearded man yelling will do that to ya. Later, we have yet another text exchange with the mother. We keep our stance known and I'm quite proud of myself for keeping my temper in check. She said she will handle it and we end the conversation on good terms. Even then, we were willing to try to be nice and give them another chance. We were little a-hole teens once and we chalked it up to the high of spring break. We just hosed off the pavement and tried to generate a level of patience unforeseen in either of us. We had about a week of peace, but the good times did not last. The teen girls have developed a small collective of devoted, derelict boys who hang around outside their house several afternoons a week. They once again leaned on our cars, looked into our cars, and were little a-holes when my husband came outside. They tried to mouth off, but when he asked them to repeat themselves, they scuttled down the sidewalk. Rinse and repeat for the next couple of weeks. That brings us to last night. We are fun and exciting people, so we were idly scrolling our phones while watching something. Suddenly, there was a loud bang, and we noticed a phone flashlight on our back patio. That can't be good. They had broken through our fence and were scrambling for a way out. We hear and vaguely see whoever it is crash through our garage cans on the other side. His options were either to run that course, risk the 10+ foot drop into woods, or escalate to breaking and entering in a state where he would have probably become a statistic. Oh. In an obviously rare moment of intelligence, he chose the first option. The whole thing freaked us the hell out, and by the time we got our heads on right and go to the front, we see those teens scattering through the neighborhood like mice. One of them didn't get far enough away and tried to casually act like he was just walking by, but when we confronted him, he was clearly rattled. We weren't about to detain a child because we're not psychotic, so we let him go. He scampered off to wherever little shites go when they're not ruining everyone's evening. The neighbor on the other side of the problem house had someone break into their back area as well, going the opposite direction, and I panicked. I reached out to the mom, convinced her daughters may have been hurt or they were robbed. She brushed me off and got a little rude when I told her the trespassers had definitely come from her house and that every other neighbor said the same thing. That is until a random uncle appeared, driven home by someone else. He listened to us and fed us the usual BS people do when they don't want to deal with anything. Lots of empty apologies and excuses for why the kids are alone, but apparently he told the mom that 4 adults were all saying the same thing. The working theory is that the boyfriends somehow knew an adult was coming back, probably location sharing, so they panicked and left out the back. The mom tried to walk back her attitude and apologized after hearing how many witnesses there were, but I am not very forgiving once I'm at a certain point. It's something I'm working on. I did not accept her apology. Later, when we reviewed our camera footage from the whole night, we saw the same little shite we stopped going into her house with the others about an hour before they trespassed. Those same little shites come back later after trespassing and lean on our cars, climb on our cars, and film themselves lip syncing for whatever reason. Oh, that reason being TikTok. It's a thing. I don't know why, but it is. I have quite literally seen people stand on top of cars and lip sync on TikTok. So I am a valid witness. So we decided to go nuclear. To quote the certified badass Cobra Bubbles, thus far you have been adrift in the sheltered harbor of my patience. Mommy dearest had no way of knowing this, but the neighbors we were friendly with had lived there before. They were good friends with the homeowner. It was very easy to get this number from them, text him, and bing bang boom, suddenly my husband is on the phone with a very embarrassed guy whose apologies were much more coherent than Piss Girl's friend. Right, because they're just peeing everywhere. He was really appreciative of the Google Drive link with video of every single issue we have had, a few I have left out just to save space. All of this complete with timestamps. The other neighbors got his phone number as well. We learned some interesting info from him. The mom gave us a different name than the one he had. There were only supposed to be 2 people living there total. We see 5 or more living there regularly. Other fun things I'll leave to your vivid imaginations. Needless to say, they are in violation of their lease with just this. But one thing my husband and I have in common is that we are very thorough. So the next step was a police report. Did you know that in my state you can file a non-emergency report online for things like someone on your back porch late at night or people chasing your car? It's really very easy. Our HOA isn't open until Monday, but they had a nice little contact page that we filled out. The other neighbors also filed reports and contacted the HOA. However bad my Saturday night was, I think their upcoming week might be worse. My husband informed the mother via text of all the steps we had taken and that our cameras are always on front and back.
Front and back!
She has been silent and absent from the home since I did not accept her apology last night and laid out exactly how much trouble her kids have been in when she's not around, which is always. I'm not sure what happened next, a little concerned about retaliation from the little dingleberries, but now we have a paper trail, an immediate line of communication to the landlord, and they are aware they are being recorded the entire time. Any escalation beyond this is their choice. And I have a feeling telling that there was escalation. We are going to my favorite place, the Reddit comment section. Someone commented and said they didn't get evicted because of one mistake. They got evicted because they treated the neighborhood like a free trial for bad decisions. OP responded and said, I don't know if the eviction is actually in motion yet or what, but based on how upset the landlord was, I would be shocked if they were here next month. Next comment, the month changes in a few days. You will know if the landlord takes the rent, your next door jerks are staying or not. I hope not, but the landlords and a chance to increase rent for more tenants that are already there is hard to pass up. Never thought of that being an option. OP said, you will be happy to hear he's not our landlord. It won't affect our monthly budget in any way if they are evicted. Oh, I just think they meant that the landlord could keep all of them in the house, but say, I'm raising the rent since there's more of you. Next comment, why didn't you call the police from the beginning? She said, because I live in a state where it was more likely those kids would become a hashtag and a headline if we did. And while I'm ticked off, they weren't violent, and I don't think that would have been the safest escalation for anybody. They have been told that we will call the cops if we see their friends near our property again though. Next comment, eviction takes a long time. Watch yourself, take care. She said, we have taken precautions. They know they're being filmed now. We also don't live in a state where tenants get a lot of rights, and our HOA only allows tenants if they follow community guidelines. Between footage of them violating both their lease and the community guidelines, which also violated their lease, I'm pretty hopeful they won't be in our hair much longer. Next comment, I would just be careful not to get pulled into direct confrontations now. Keep documenting, keep everything in writing, and let the landlord and the police handle the consequences. She said, oh yeah, part of my husband's last message to her was that any and all interactions with them going forward would be either recorded or in written form. We live in a one-party consent state, so we don't need their permission to record a conversation on our own property and sidewalk. We haven't seen anyone outside at all other than them getting home at 2:30 a.m. last night. Next comment, the silver lining is so real. Like imagine going from basically living in a zoo with drunk teenagers to actually having a quiet neighborhood again. Nature is healing. Yeah, because they really painted the picture that this was a Gilmore Girls, small town, Hallmark movie feel, you know? That would be so fun. OP said, we had a nice, lovely neighborhood for the 4 years we have lived here. There are some other teens that live on the other side of the neighborhood that genuinely just do kid stuff, like riding their bikes around, playing basketball after school, filming TikToks together down by our little park area, just normal stuff. The only time I've had to say anything was when I was in a meeting working from home and they were squealing a bit loud. I popped my head out and I said that I was working from home and I asked if they could just keep it down until I got out of my meeting. They were polite, apologized, and didn't resume whatever they were doing until after the time had passed. I even told their mom when I saw her how much I appreciated her kids just being chill and respectful about it. I didn't mind them playing, I just needed to be able to hear my meeting. Those kids don't come over to our side anymore because of the little a-holes that we live next to. Next comment, eviction is a process and at the very least requires a 30-day notice. If the tenant only has a few months left on their lease, the landlord may just let the lease run out and not renew it. Giving these people 30 days to pack and get out may make things worse. She said, not in my state, baby. The one time being one of the lowest ranked states for tenant rights is working in our favor. Tenants can be booted out in 72 hours if the landlord can prove it's for good reasons. Given all the stuff we've handed to them, I think we've got a good chance. On top of that, the HOA is about to unleash a crap storm and has the power to evict the tenants themselves in our state. Wow. Ours is very reasonable about plants, decorations, door color, etc., but they come down hard on crap like this. I've never heard of that before. Being able to boot someone out within 72 hours, even if there's reasons. It's not like that over here. We have a mini update, and it came the next day. The mom finally came home at around 2:30 in the morning with a literal warehouse of younger kids. She put them in the house and then let herself into a different car that was there to pick her up. The uncle or whoever he was is at the house with the new set of kids, and we saw no sign of, the teenagers last night. My husband thinks the mom and older teenagers are avoiding their own house since we have now taken to sitting on our porches. But where are they? Where is mom staying? I have so many questions.
So many questions.
We have another update that came the next day. I've had terrible insomnia for the past 2 nights since getting the crap scared out of me by the trespassing. I've confirmed with a couple of other neighbors that they have also contacted the HOA owner and filed a police report for a missing Apple Watch from one of their cars that same night. They said that they would, but it was nice to get confirmation and vent to each other. If the kids chose to retaliate, they would have to target multiple people, all of whom have cameras. Still no signs of the teenagers. Normally a day off school summons them like maggots to a carcass. Our front camera is not in an obvious spot, so my husband thinks it might have freaked them out to learn that they had been recorded the entire time. I'm so angry I want to go pee next to her driver's side door. I would say don't do that. But then that technically would be right next to my car again, and that would be counterintuitive. Yeah, let's not do that. It won't do anything good, Next update. Still no sign of the teenagers. They haven't shown themselves since the night they broke our fence down. Our cars and property have been left alone entirely, but the neighbors on the other side of these neighbors asked for some camera footage since they woke up to some gas missing out of their car during the week. Then they asked for footage again on Thursday since some other kids staying at the neighbor's house were climbing all the way on the roof and hood of her car, and the camera they ordered hadn't gotten here yet. She was heated and came out yelling at them because her roof is now dented. The adults came rushing out to usher the kids inside for only a minute, and then the whole crowd bundled up into their cars and left. I think they know that they're on thin ice. I wasn't part of this confrontation. I only heard about it and I saw it on my cameras later when she asked for the footage. I don't know what her next steps will be. I would want my roof repair paid for, but I also understand not wanting to deal with them in that way. The landlord had a meeting scheduled with the mother that he called a walkthrough and HOA citation review for noon on Saturday, May 30th. She claimed a family emergency and asked to push it back until Sunday at noon. Then she asked to push it back until 5. The landlord was openly irritated by the third rescheduling. He offered this information, by the way. We did not ask. The landlord ended yesterday by reporting he had told the mom what her options were going forward. What those options entail, he did not say. Oh, man.
Oh, man.
It has been eerily quiet since yesterday evening when he told us that. I don't want to speculate since I genuinely have no information beyond this. All I know is I heard vacuuming and cleaning for a while on Sunday, and then absolute silence. I hope this is concluded, but based on my experience with teenagers like them, they tend to forget lessons pretty quick. Hopefully the landlord and whatever he said helps the neighbors understand the precarious position their teenager friends put them in. It doesn't stop there though. We have a very recent update. It is the final update, so hopefully this gets all wrapped up in a pretty little bow. But first, all aboard Hydration Station. Drink your water, you need it. Cheers. Hope you're having a good day. The time has come, you guys. You guys have been waiting for my merch announcement, and guess what? The merch is officially going live tomorrow. There was a lot of back-end stuff and issues with the website side of things, so I couldn't do the full launch, but it is coming tomorrow. I hope you guys like all of these new designs. I saw your comments. I took your feedback. It's a line that's very me. You'll see what I mean. It's very us, and I hope you love it. Okay, so the final update came July 14th, 2026, and it was 1.5 months later. After we went nuclear, we had absolutely zero issues except for the couple of things from the small updates on that post. After the first weekend of June, we barely saw any signs of human life. If it hadn't been for the car appearing and disappearing, I would have thought that they had already been kicked out. I'm not sure what happened inside, but the only activity was a U-Haul parked there on and off over a couple days a couple weeks ago. We have yet to see either of the teenage girls since that landlord meeting. I know that my own mother would have tied me up like a pretzel and shipped me off to Camp Green Lake to dig holes for a year. The teenagers disappeared off the face of the earth for a couple of weeks, although we did see a couple of them walking back from a nearby gas station a few days ago, so they're clearly still around the neighborhood. I guess doing TikTok dances on the hood of the neighbor's car, breaking down fences, and ultimately helping get her family evicted is not a good way to keep your girl interested. Young love is tough that way. Today, the landlord came by to ask how things have been and to let us know that they were officially evicted a couple of weeks ago. They had been having payment problems as well. Both us and the neighbors on the other side of the problem house submitted HOA complaints and police reports that helped him push things along, and he seemed to really appreciate it. The power of documentation once again proves itself. I'm personally a bit conflicted now that the anger from my first post has cooled off a bit. To reiterate, we never had any problem with regular neighbor noise and would have never complained about that. We want kids to play on our sidewalk. We want friends to chat with in the parking lot. We don't care if you have a party on the weekend, but peeing drunk next to my car, screaming outside our bedroom windows at 2 a.m. on a weeknight, blasting bass hard enough to rattle the pictures on my walls, and breaking into our back patio area late at night do not fall under normal neighbor noise and activities. On one hand, life is already hard for a single parent, and I wish that we could have worked things out between us as neighbors, but on the other hand, we did try talking it out between adults first, and maybe don't piss off your neighbors, violate your lease, and not pay rent. Hopefully they found a place that works for them, and I hope those kids don't keep making their mom's life hard. We're going back to the comment section. Someone said, oof, struggling single mom with teens that are hard to control while working 2 or more jobs at odd hours. That eviction could legitimately ruin her life. I don't know, man. Something makes me feel like this was not remotely a proportional response to teens being teens, and there were a lot of better ways to try and handle this before making a family homeless. I have been a wayward youth of divorce, and making friends with your neighbors and learning not to crap where you eat, so to speak, is a very different life skill they clearly needed help with. OP responded and said, did you read the first post at all? We tried to talk to mom first, multiple times. Someone urinated next to our car on video 4 feet from our front door. Screaming at 2 a.m. on a weeknight, they broke in. Yeah, we already read all that. We tried for months not to go nuclear. At a certain point, it goes from being a patient neighbor to being a doormat. I'm interested. Do you guys think that her response was wrong? Do you think the eviction was too harsh? I'm curious. Someone else said, fair outcome. You didn't get them evicted. Their repeated choices did. Hopefully it's a wake-up call because ignoring warnings, breaking the lease, and not paying rent is a disaster recipe no family can outrun. OP responded, like I said in the first post, we really did try to work things out with mom several times. My husband grew up bouncing around because the people in his family didn't know how to act, and that is not something I want for any kid. Next comment, happy for you, though I don't think a good landlord should provide that kind of specific information, specifically that they were having payment issues. Also, I'm betting if they had paid, they would still be your problem. It wasn't the disturbance that caused the eviction. She responded and said, oh, I agree with you entirely on the information part. Not so sure about the second point. In our state, HOAs are very powerful, and violating HOA guidelines is a good way to get renting banned from the neighborhood. All right, mixed emotions a little bit in the comments, so let me know your thoughts. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.